We are changing the intake manifold today. So you sell this gasket kits. It could be pretty bad, guys. I'm about to find out if I'm gonna have to rebuild my motor. That's the big boy bolt. Guys, I can't drive the Mustang home today. Hello everybody, welcome to Gearhead 704. I'm Matt, and today we are talking about tarheelfox. If you missed the last upload, I was saying that I was having some problems with the car, and I'm actually here today at Fox Mustang Restoration. That's what you guys can see behind me. I've also got an awesome video touring this place. If you guys haven't seen that, definitely check it out. But anyway, yeah, today we're talking and working on tarheelfox. Really, we've got a couple of problems with the car. It is burning oil. This is a stroker motor, by the way, a 331 stroker. And also I am losing coolant. Pretty sure we know what the burning oil problem is. The intake manifold on there is not PCV valve system. And so there's no way really for the oil to go back in with what you have with the PCV valve system. Now I could be explaining this wrong, but the good thing is today I'm working with Matt from Fox Resto. I'll show you guys him a little later, but he is definitely an expert on these things. You guys probably know if you've been following for the channel for a while. I'm not really. But yeah, so that's one problem. We got a GT40 intake. We're gonna stick that on today, but the other issue is the coolant. And it could be pretty bad, guys. I'm gonna show you guys one thing here. Yeah, I can get that off. So I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera down there, but there is all kinds of sludge. Let me stick the funnel down in there and pull it out just to show you guys how much sludge. There we go. Check that out. All right, so guys, we're about to test the engine. I've got Matt here with me from Fox Resto. Say hi to the people, Matt. Hey. And you've got a block tester.
Yeah, this is an easy way or an easier way to find out if you have a bad head gasket, a cracked block, a cracked head. Basically what we're doing, anything that would allow exhaust gases to get into the cooling system, that's what we're checking for, which if you have exhaust gases in the cooling system, no matter where it's entering the cooling system at, that's a bad thing, right? The motor. Yeah. I'm about to find out if I'm gonna have to rebuild my motor. Right. Again. So the first thing you got to do is make sure the level of the radiator's down a little bit, because what we're gonna do is this has a fluid that goes in here up to this level. Okay. You got a bulb here with a check valve that you put this into the radiator, squeeze the bulb. When you let the bulb out, it'll suck some of the air out of the radiator in there, and if there's any exhaust in there, this special fluid that we're going to put in there, I believe is going to change from a black or a green to a yellow. Okay. So that's an indication, that's a basic first test to look and see if your motor's any good, if you're suspecting an internal overheating.
And we do suspect some issues. If we have some evidence there might be some kind of issue going on. I had to put coolant in it all the time. Right, so.
We're basically just making sure, because you do have issues, this is kind of the first step of the diagnosis to find out where we need to go. Okay. So we're gonna do real easy first. This is a quick, easy test. You can rent this tool from pretty much any auto parts store. Okay. I think the bottle of fluid was 10 bucks. You do have to buy the bottle of fluid, but there's no guesswork. So it's pretty straightforward. It's an easy test. It's a good
And we did let it cool down first.
Yeah, you gotta let it cool down so we can open the cooling system. Right. You never open a hot cooling system. So I'm just making sure it's still warm when you drove it in, but there's really very little pressure in there. In it. So each radiator cap has a 2-step notch on it, and it's cooled enough right now that it's not going to give us 3rd-degree burns. Okay. And it doesn't have enough pressure that's going to blow out. I would still recommend if you're not familiar with this, I would definitely recommend for it to just completely cool to the touch. Completely cool down. Okay. Yeah, this way you're not hurt. I'm definitely experienced on this, so I know what I can work with here. There we go.
Broke loose.
Yeah, we got it broke loose just a little bit. Now I should just be able to.
By hand.
Yeah, there we go. You can see
it's coming down.
So you'll see it's got a fluid level right there.
Yep, okay.
So now that we're all set up, I want you to go ahead and start the car up. We're gonna let it run for a minute. Okay. So I want it to get warmed up. I want the thermostat to open so we see some flow in the radiator. Okay. And then once we know we got flow, then we'll go ahead and do the test.
So we're warmed up.
Yeah, you know that when the thermostat opens, the upper radiator hose is gonna be hot to the touch. Okay. Basically just make sure that this conical shape goes into the radiator. Okay. Make sure you get a good seal, and then we're just gonna pump. Yeah, I don't think you got a problem there.
Yeah, it's still looking that blue.
Yep, we're looking good there. All right. Good. So you can shut it off now, and I think we're done there.
So that's good. There, at least that tells us there's no coolant in the engine. Now we're gonna pull it in to change the intake. Okay, like I said, the block test did work out, well. Doesn't look like I have a problem. We are changing the intake manifold today to the GT40, and gonna go ahead and start disassembling that so we can get the intake off. So yeah, this will be time lapse, but what is also cool is that Matt actually sells a intake gasket kit. So I'll have all that information down below. We're gonna use that kit today. I want to show you guys what I've pulled off so far. So basically I took out my cold air intake right here, and I'm unplugging my injectors. I took off this hose here. This is basically, it goes from here to here. Distributor cap off, took the plug wires on that side and just kind of laid them over there. Those are the connections I've done so far. Okay, so I just want to recap what I did in that step. I actually took off the cable here. It was attached to the bottom of the throttle body. This is basically throttle cable, I believe. And so I just used a screwdriver to push this piece down, disconnect that. See the two bolts right there? And I went ahead and used a 13 to take those off. Then I disconnected my vacuum hose here, which is going into the intake off the tree. And the next thing I'm going to do is the upper intake, which are, these are 13 millimeter. This one over here is actually 10. These are 13, there's 8 of them. I'm going to take that off. When I do that, the intake should come right off. So let's find out if I did it right. I'm going to try to take it off. Let's see. Well, yeah, I'd say it's loose. Look at that. All right. I took the intake off. Part of it. All right. First, I dropped the rear end of the SSP, and I actually got my intake manifold off. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. But here it is over here. And yeah, it came off pretty easily, actually. Intake manifold is off. Well, the upper's off. Okay, I'm pulling the rest of the injectors out.
Alright, so we got this all loose. Alright, yeah, so what we're going to do next is we'll go ahead and take the fuel rail out. Actually, we probably need, let's go ahead and take the distributor out. So what we'll do is I'll get you the tool, you'll break it loose with the tool, and you'll go ahead and unscrew it. There's a wedge there. Okay. Right below it is a little wedge block. That has to come out with it. Okay? Put that stuff wherever you're putting your bolts, and then at that point your distributor, just wiggle it and twist it, it should come straight out. Okay. And then I'm going to get you a clean rag to put down in that hole so we don't drop anything.
All right, taking the distributor out now. Okay, so I know you guys probably can't see very well from the time lapse, but what we did is we're getting the fuel lines off now. So we use these quick disconnect tools. You can see I've still got the one here. I just stick it on here and then I was able to pull that off. We've already disconnected this one here. And I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect these bolts right here. There's 4 of them. They're 8 millimeter to actually take the fuel rails off. So that's kind of the next step there. Next step, hose clamps. Get this one here, which is an 8 millimeter. You've got 2 back here, 1 there, 1 below it. All right, and then we have 1 more right here. Yep, take those out. When I do that, I've got these 2 connectors here. I guess these are the salt and pepper shakers. I don't know. I've heard them called that. But anyway, yeah, you got to take these 2 off as well, and apparently it's got 2 sides, 1 there, 1 there. You just compress them and then pull it out. All right, so I ripped another pair of gloves. I'm good at that so far, but those hose clamps I was saying was off. So next step, we got this bolt right here, which I got a big wrench for. That screws right there. Once that's gone, one more hose clamp here that I forgot about. And those two things come up, and then it's pretty much just unbolt the lower intake and it should come right up. I'm gonna take care of that real quick. That's the big boy bolt. I am sweating, as you guys can see, but I did get it loose. That big guy right there. So, should come right up. Yep, there we go. Oops, okay. Coolant. Get away from the car pretty quick. But yeah, got this off as another rail. We are draining the coolant down there. And again, sorry for the fan noise behind me, but you know, it's incredibly hot. So, one thing I did want to point out. This tool, well, this tool is good, but you guys probably have that one. This tool, very useful, getting into the hoses and prying. Very helpful for me, at least. Right now, we've got these bolts come off the lower intake, 16 of them, and lower intake's coming off, that's it. So that's kind of the next step. Okay, I should be pulling that lower intake off right now, but yeah. This is pizza time. Got some water. Pizza. Breadsticks. I gotta fuel up, so I'm gonna do that real quick. And no, this video is not sponsored by Pizza Hut, just in case you're wondering. Eating time is over. It's time to get this lower intake out. Okay, all 16 bolts are out, so the lower intake should come out now. I used a 1/2 inch socket for all those. I don't know if it's gonna be different for you guys, but that's what I use. So let's see if I can get the intake out.
Make sure you got all your bolts out. Get the back ones out. You got one left right here. Okay.
There we go.
That would have been really difficult.
I left the bolt in. Yeah, that would have made it kind of hard.
So I'll just typically find a place to pry on.
Okay.
So I'm on the back of the water pump, actually the timing cover housing, and then the lower thermostat bolt, and I put like the back of the water pump housing right here, the thermostat bolt right here, and you just got a little leverage right that, so it just pops up like that.
Nice. Now I
you
can
gotta
do
grab that, pull it up, and then you'll have to set that back down, break the back loose, and then like I said, you'll have to fish it out like that.
Okay.
Yep. There we go.
Oh. Alright. Hope they don't hit my paint. Here it comes, guys. Oh. Whoa, almost dropped it. Intake is off. I guess part of the gasket came up with it. Probably still on there right there, the lower gasket. I guess we got to get that all that material off. You can see right here. This bad boy's out.
You know, so here's your coolant jacket.
Okay.
And then here's your intake runner. So you can see even if you have an intake manifold gasket that goes bad between these two spots, you can be sucking coolant. This wouldn't even be a bad head or a bad head gasket.
Right.
You could be sucking coolant
just because of
this chamber into your intake runner and then sucking it right through the motor. There is an old school way to where you could just run like a 1/4 inch bead of silicone, like a real thick bead, and lay that down. But the gaskets that we use actually are a thick silicone gasket to where you no longer need to do that. So the only thing you need to do is when we lay it down, we're going to put a dab of silicone here on each corner, actually, just to seal where the two gaskets come together. And this way we don't have to worry.
You don't have to do the full bead though, because your gaskets have the silicone built in.
It can be messy. It can come apart on the interior and float around in your motor. It could clog your, partially clog your oil pump pickup screen.
Seeing anything yet as to why I might have been losing coolant?
Nothing yet.
Nothing obvious yet.
Yeah, nothing obvious.
Okay, so we've got to get the old gasket material off of here. But what I've done, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, this is where the distributor was. We've got that plugged up with a rag. We put some rags down here as well, and so nothing gets down in there. And we've blocked the cylinder holes with paper towels so that none of this gasket material will actually go down in the engine. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get this off, peel this off, and I've got a razor blade to really clean it up nicely. It should kind of look like this surface right here when I'm done. So yep, that's the next step. Got to get these gaskets off. Okay, she is pretty much all clean, except I've got to find out what the master thinks, and he is the FoxBody master. So I'm gonna have him check my handiwork and see if it's good enough to move on or not. I did not pass inspection. There's still some material. You can't really see it, but you can feel it. And this right here is very smooth, but right here it is not. That's kind of the key, is you need to feel, make sure it's smooth. Okay, I did pass inspection that time. Now what we got to do is we got to get all this stuff out of here. So I'm going to take a vacuum, go through these air intakes, fill the cylinders, get that out. And I'm going to pull the paper towels out and then get all this stuff up in the middle. So basically just some cleanup so you don't end up with debris in the motor. So nothing big to show you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and get on that. So this is our lower GT40 intake, and I was taking the fuel rails off. You see the old fuel rails on here. That came with it. One thing I didn't pay attention to, look at this bolt, guys. That's what it's supposed to look like. So we kind of can't go any further. We're stuck a little bit. So I'm gonna retune this too, guys, by the way, since I'm putting a new intake on. Obviously things are gonna run differently, so we're gonna get it tuned on the dyno again.
More importantly, we're gonna fix that vacuum leak.
Yeah.
Massive vacuum leak with that breather cap. Number one rule with fuel injector cars, don't, or mass air cars,
right,
don't create a vacuum leak.
That
vented
guy.
Caps, that's a very large vacuum leak.
Yeah.
That is do not use vented caps on fuel injector cars.
And if you guys didn't see the previous video, I talked about that a little bit, but essentially this was a band-aid because I'm having too much crankcase pressure in this motor. So rather than actually fix it, which would have been the PCV valve system, we think.
Exactly, and that's why you have that back pressure, because you do not have a PCV valve system.
Right, so that was our band-aid, and honestly, oil would come out of here too, and it'd be all messy. You can see the valve cover up there.
Yeah.
So, crap. For carburetors, not fuel-injected mass airs.
Absolutely.
All right, so I think this is called my thermostat housing. I got it off, and it's got the thermostat stuck in it. So I'm gonna see if I can get it off for you guys. That was pretty easy. Obviously, we'll need to put a new gasket here as well. So, but that comes in the kit that they're selling here at Fox Mustang Restoration, which I'm about to show you guys in just a second. Okay, guys, this is the gasket set we were going to use until FoxBody things broke because I bought something used. That happens. So yeah, so you sell this gasket kits, and one of the cool things about it, you were telling me, is this prevents the need for all the silicone like I had on mine when we took it off.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do, is they'll either use cork, which can squeeze out, or they'll just run in like a 1/4 inch bead of silicone in the front and the back of the intake. So this nice kit gets a nice piece of silicone, get a lineup tab that goes into the hole in the block, and you've got edge guards to keep it from moving around.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so it's real nice. And same thing on the front side here. This is for the front side. This is where the notch where the distributor will go. Okay. And then it's great because once you put it in, you put a dab of silicone on each corner, and then when you put the gasket in, it'll be, it'll go just like that whenever you bolt it down and you got the intake on. Yep. Yeah, and then that little dab of silicone is going to seal that corner, and you've got a solid gasket all the way around. Okay. But you got your lower intake, the lower head, ones, lower intake the head, lower intake the plenum, thermostat gasket, EGR spacer to upper plenum, throttle body to EGR spacer, the front and back of the lower intake gasket. We have the idle air control motor here. We get the distributor O-ring. You want to replace that every time. Okay. And then you also got the injector O-rings, and this injector O-ring kit does the upper and lower O-ring per injector. It also does the plastic spacer and the pintle cap, and that's at the very tip where the injector pintle lets the fuel out of the injector, and a lot of times that is broken apart from heat saturation. It just becomes
so you actually replace these parts on the injector?
Yep. Okay. Yep, you just actually pop the old ones off. They're plastic and rubber. Pop the new ones on. You're good to go. I use a little bit of dielectric grease to lubricate them so they slide into the intake nice and smoothly, and they don't catch on a burr or get a hole in the O-ring and leak.
So I guess that's why there's 8 of these, one for each injector.
There you go.
Okay. You guys can get all this on foxresto.com, although we're going to try to get a direct link below if we can, so check for that in the description. And you get 10% off with promo code Gearhead704 because Jen set that up for us, so that's pretty cool. So definitely check that out, guys. All right, sadly, guys, we could not finish the intake manifold install today because of that bolt. That part was missing there, so I've got to take it to a fabrication shop, get them to put new material on there, and then we can drill a new hole and actually make sure that fuel rail stays down. So we're gonna have to stop the video here, unfortunately. But the good news is that, you know, the car's been out in the driveway for a little bit, so it gets a few days potentially inside until Matt needs to move it around. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Gearhead 704. And stay tuned for part 2, where we actually get the intake manifold installed. The Mustang home today. Do they have beer there?
Yes.
They have beer there, so
liquor.
Maybe I could just hang out there for a little bit, play a little bit of arcades, drink some beer, and you can pick me up after. Love you. Happy anniversary.